frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Steel spoon in space.
Oh, we could totally have a carrier, right? And
Ground control to Major John.
Deals in space. Classic Muppets reference to you there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hope you enjoyed that.
Good.
Hello and welcome to Game Buzz episode 4. And well, there was some news this week, but quite frankly, ever since Chris Roberts just dropped the bomb with his Star Citizen reveal, we've been thinking about pretty much nothing else apart from XCOM and Dishonored and XCOM.
Yeah, I've been playing so much XCOM and losing so much sleep. I'm having trouble distinguishing like reality from fantasy now.
Yeah, we've had to.
Sleep
the thing is,
deprivation is getting really bad.
We've actually had to peel Carl off the ceiling for this podcast because he's been up there since like Chris Roberts announced just all of the details for Star Citizen. And why are you so excited,
happy up
Carl?
there.
Why are you so excited?
Because it's Space Sim and it's going to be great.
But they're dead, aren't they? Space Sims are dead.
Space Sims are dead, and so are PC games. They're all dead. They're never coming back, or are they? Yeah, it's a very, very ambitious project. I mean, it's not just the return of space games as a sort of like a mainstream appeal, let's say, because obviously they're still been around, as I'm sure John will completely agree with. You know that they're still there.
Yeah, but you've got to kind of look for them.
You do.
Yeah.
Often on iOS.
Well, that's the thing, that they've not been prominent as a genre. And Chris Roberts has turned around and said, right, the technology is there. I think I can come back. I think I've done my film thing. I've made a war. And I'm going to come back and do a space sim game because the technology to achieve the dreams that I've always wanted to make is there. I can do it now. And it's very ambitious. To put in perspective, Star Citizen is the main overview of the game, but it's split into two. You've got an online portion, which is very similar to Freelancer's multiplayer. So you'll be able to, do whatever you want. You can trade, you can fight, you can be a pirate. Kind of like a bit like an MMO light sort of setup.
It's kind of like a cross between X and Eve almost.
Yes.
But not quite as massive and ridiculously hands-off as Eve.
Yes, exactly. And you're going to be able to have proper dogfights, so like Twitch combat, which is going to be amazing. It sounds really, really good. The fact that you'll be able to control not just small ships, you'll be able to control giant capital ships and walk around them in first and third person view. You'll be able to man turrets. You'll be able to wave at people. Like say, go up to the window of your carrier and wave as the ships fly by if you really want. Although I kind of hope there isn't like a mooning emote. Otherwise, space mooning will be a thing.
I don't want.
But it could happen. It could happen.
I don't want to see your space giraffe.
Space giraffing is going to be
Stop
a thing.
against the window.
But yeah, you'll be able to you'll be walking around the carrier. You can decide, actually, I'm going to jump in a ship and fly off, and do whatever you want. But that's just the multiplayer component, and it's completely optional. If you really want to, you can just concentrate on the single-player element, which is going to be called Squadron 42, and it's going to be like a campaign is going to be similar to a tour of duty with the Foreign Legion. You can join up, do the campaign, and you'll have branching out storylines very similar to how Wing Commander did it.
Yeah.
And once the campaign's complete, you just go back into the multiplayer, and it counts towards something called citizenship, which is apparently Chris Roberts' way of creating a class system and how forcibly creating conflicts between players who are of a higher class to another, and creating this unrest, and it's very interesting that the world that he's created. There's a huge timeline that explains it all, and it's worth checking out once the website goes back online, seeing as pretty much everybody crashed the site as soon as the news was revealed. But it looks amazing as well. I mean, the video that we saw, one of the first things that comes up is saying, "Oh yeah, this is in game. This is how it is," using the Crytek engine, not the CryEngine 3 even. And it just looks very, very good, very shiny.
It
and
looks
it's all
absolutely stunning.
prototype.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that some of that stuff wasn't pre-rendered.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I can't wait to see the min specs.
Yeah, right. Well, what he said is that modern PCs will be pushed to the limit, but he will continue to build upon what's available over the next couple of years, because unfortunately we're going to have to wait until 2014 before it finally does emerge. There will be alpha and beta tests to join in if you join in on the crowdfunding system that's been put in place. But yeah, it's going to be a little while before we finally see it. But some of the stuff he was showing off, I mean, the fact that certain ships have something like 300 parts, and he was saying like 60 of them actually move when you are in combat, and he says there's just a lot of detail in the game, and it, as well as being mechanically ambitious, it just looks just looks beautiful, and I cannot wait.
I also like that you can. Roberts is trying to let players sort of affect the universe and the lore and stamp their own authority on it as well. Like being able to rename jump gates. I think or jump points. That's really fun.
Absolutely fantastic.
I'm looking forward. I'm going to make the Leicester Lagrange point, or more likely, I'm going to get somewhere and find like Weed Toker 86 jump point.
Almost certainly. Actually, no. I'll create the McGonagall jump point. That's
or like call yourself your mum's. It'll be like, there's your mum's jump point. I went to your mum's jump point last night.
But yeah, I mean,
it's bound to happen.
Stop ruining it.
I'm just saying, it's bound to happen.
Absolutely, but it just the scale for it's going to be fantastic. The fact they're going to have a GM team who will, like a content team that will act like a GM from a pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons game, and constantly put out updates and change the galaxy to fit the reaction of the player, is really good. I think that's one of the things that has been missing from MMO and online gaming as a whole. You know, everything's very static. It's very much a theme park scenario. You go there, you go on the ride, and you have your fun, and then you might get some loot at the end of it. The world just stays static. So this is really engaging with it. I mean, Roberts compared it to, instead of like a Hollywood blockbuster film, he's going for the TV route and bringing out smaller installments every week or every other week. So that it's I keep saying ambitious. It is very ambitious, because no one's really attempted to do something on this scale and of this gorgeousness. That's a word. I just can't wait. I haven't been this excited about something in quite some time.
Yeah, and with good reason. I mean, frankly, it was about time that Roberts came back. We've been missing him. It's about time that Space Sims came back. We've been missing that.
Yes.
And this game, it looks to be delivering the sort of compelling, sort of involving gameplay that we crave from the genre. And frankly, it looks like Will It Run Star Citizen is going to become a meme as well. It looks fantastic. We all love Space Sims. We all need Space Sims. We all need this game so bad.
I mean, I love the fact that it's looking as though it's got something for absolutely everyone. So you've got that hardcore, incredibly crafted single-player experience that'll appeal to everyone who can remember Wing Commander, and you're going to have that enormous free-form multiplayer environment that will let you be whatever and whoever you want to be in the galaxy. And we're going to have to really try not to get too far ahead of ourselves, because it is 2014. But dear God, what a return!
Well, it's that's the other thing. But before I completely forget, it's going to be moddable as well. People will be able to make content for the game as well. So you're going to, not as well as having the whole thing where you could perhaps rename jump points and discover new systems, you'll be able to put your mark on the world in that way as well. And you're right. You can do whatever you want. He brought up the words Millennium and Falcon in the speech. If you wanted to be the Han Solo of the Star Citizen universe, you can be. Or if you just want to be just an absolute bastard pirate and just shoot up everything, do that. Yep.
Bounty hunter, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be good.
Very, very much so. But a long way off, and there's going to be plenty more to see over the next year or so. So I will be keeping my beady eyes on that one.
Indeed. And if you've just been listening to that for the last 10 minutes and have no idea about what the hell we're talking about, can you please type Squadron 42 into the Dealspend search bar and immediately watch the trailer? And then you might want some tissues. But just watch it. In fact, if you've already watched it, watch it again.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Exactly. Like, we're watching it right now.
Yeah.
Like, right now.
Oh, it's so good.
So yes, that happened this week, and we're very, very, very happy about that. One thing, obviously, it's been a good week for games this week because XCOM and Dishonored are now both out in the world, all over the world, well, Dishonored's been getting some really good reviews. So much so that the writer of Dishonored decided to come out and express his conviction that Corvo Attano, the central silent character in Dishonored, was a more personal character and therefore better than creepy as hell Gordon Freeman.
Yeah, and that's a direct quote. Creepy as hell, Gordon Freeman.
Yeah, direct quote. Creepy as hell.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to say. I mean, he's right insofar as Corvo is a really cool character, and you can read a lot of yourself into him, but you genuinely care about him as well. And you can experience the world through his eyes, and it's really immersive, and it is a personal story as well, but it's a personal story that you can make your story. But yeah, on the other hand, like, G-Man's pretty creepy, but Gordon Freeman's just really nice guy. I like being Gordon Freeman. The Freeman is awesome.
Perhaps you find scientists creepy as a whole, or perhaps it's the goatee.
Maybe the goatee is actually the key to it. Maybe if there was a shaving scene where, like, you're looking in the mirror as Gordon Freeman and you just, like, doing the little shave, maybe that would help. Make him less.
Is there a shaving scene in Dishonored?
No. Okay, looking around, like, just shave Gordon Freeman's face. No, but actually, no, that might make him more creepy. You'd be sort of grooming his facial. Forget I said anything.
I was going to say he'll end up looking like Walter White from Breaking Bad.
Oh god, that would be creepy as hell.
That'd be amazing, though. That'd be great. Start stealing out meth to the car.
He's a scientist. Black Mesa just cooking up some meth in the basement. Shit, Zen.
Could happen.
Maybe that's what Half-Life actually is. Maybe the aliens don't invade it at all. Maybe it's just a massive crystal meth binge.
Food for thought.
You see, I'm not sure about Grossman in terms of Corvo himself, because the thing is, like, silent protagonists are they do require some skill to handle, and I don't agree with him when he says that. Well, he expresses a personal statement. He says, "I hate what Valve does with a silent protagonist," but the thing is, there's not a huge amount of difference. I'm going to throw that out there. The key difference isn't really to do with Corvo at all. It's more to do with Emily, the kidnapped Empress's daughter. Like, that's very nice. I mean, they talk about you and they talk at you as well. But Corvo himself, there are a couple of moments when you're thinking, why won't you say anything? Like when they're going, yes, yep, you murdered her, you did it, and you're just sort of standing there just going, yeah. It's kind of like,
Perhaps it's trying to show he's a carefree character. He's just like, dun, 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 dun.
To be honest, he's going to find it very difficult to talk through that fat iron mask anyway. No one's going to hear what he says.
But Grossman,
Just be there like, oh,
but Grossman says with
Like a
Freeman,
bizarre Bane,
yeah.
but Grossman says the problem with Freeman is that you've got people talking at him, about him, and sometimes for him, and that's exactly the same with Corvo. I suppose Freeman gets caught up in events, whereas literally everyone is basically talking about Corvo and Dishonored. But I suppose actually one of the nice things about Dishonored is that people do talk about things you've done in the way that you, the player, have done them. So in that sense, it's a little bit more personal. But I think that's less to do with the silent protagonist and more to do with how you approach an open world game to begin with. So, and Half-Life was never really Half-Life wasn't an open world game at all.
No.
So I think the personal nature of things is it's not really so much to do with silent protagonist as to do with the nature of the two games themselves anyway. So I thought that was kind of a strange thing. I thought it was a bit of a strange thing to pick up on, really.
Yeah.
Gordon Freeman's creepy because he's in a more linear game, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think those silent protagonists can be very useful, and the genre I think that they're best suited for are sims. Flight sims, for example. It's always great for you to be the character in the cockpit rather than being some meathead guy who has a story that you don't care about.
I agree.
And that's why I'm, the difference between, say, Ace Combat 6 and Ace Combat Assault Horizon, which is why I'm quite excited about that Star Citizen game that's been announced recently, because that's going to let us stamp our own authority and really read ourselves into our own character. And I'm hoping that Squadron 42 is going to, allow us to properly immerse ourselves as well.
Give us call signs, not names.
Exactly, call signs are the key, not names. It's one of the reasons why XCOM is so brilliant. I took out, the review's getting really long, so I took out a whole paragraph about this. But the fact is, when the game starts, you meet this guy who looks like the XCOM commander, and it turns out he's just the tactical liaison. And he's dealing with all these things, but then he turns around directly to you in first person and says, "Okay, Commander, we're ready to take your orders." And that's it. All the characters address you, the player, as in first person and call you Commander.
Yeah.
It's what Command and
that
Conquer did really well as well.
Yeah, welcome back, Commander.
Welcome back, Commander. Just you feel like a badass. Like it's a little thing. It's such a little thing.
Yeah,
and
but it's so important.
Incredibly effective. Incredibly.
Yeah, and so many games try, like any number of games throughout history have thought, oh, we need a really strong, zany, likable character, and you end up with games like Battle Engine Aquila that put in some red-headed, ridiculous idiot who ruins everything rather than just letting you be the pilot.
Do you know what? Like Ace Combat Assault Horizon. Do you know what's the thing that was infuriating about that?
So close, wasn't it? Because
It's
of that
so
first-person
close.
perspective.
Yeah, because so you're walking through the hangar. People are explaining the mission parameters to you. They're calling you Major.
Yeah, and they're calling you what? They're calling you Warwolf 1.
Warwolf
1. That's all they needed to call you. But then he goes like, oh yeah, also I'm a character and I have my own stupid meat-headed voice.
And face.
My own stupid meat-headed friends. And I suck so hard compared to Mobius and especially Talisman, who is a legend. Because Talisman is you. Is whoever's playing it, and that's the glory of it. I think silent protagonists. We need to get more silent protagonists back, really, and we also need Star Citizen as well.
Yeah, and another Half-Life.
But also mainly Star Citizen, frankly.
Yeah.
Because that's going back to it again, but the fact that the single player can also have drop-in co-op as well. Imagine that the Dealspone Squadron, we can be in our wings, we can fly together and shoot up stuff. It'd be
just have they named the main carrier that you're on? Because that was always so important for me. And that was always so
there is a name for
it. Like hanging out on the Tiger's Claw, for example, or any of the other characters, the TCS Victory and things like that. I've always really bonded and formed a new home on those carriers. So I'm really looking forward to definitely being able to explore this new one.
Yeah, I think that was the next logical step as far as space sim games go, being able to walk around the carrier, because the technology's there now. We're not having to click on characters as we go from room to room, which was still pretty cool back at Wing Commander 3. But
I still love hanging out in the lounge and chatting to Viper and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I cannot wait.
Right.
Cannot wait. Sorry, what were we talking about?
We're talking about Star Citizen,
Oh, yeah, that's right. I love that. Oh,
which I'm determined to keep cynically steering us back to.
Yeah. With good reason, though. Watch
Right.
the trailer. Go watch it now. You haven't watched it? Watch it now. You watched it? Watch it again. And just see how gorgeous it is. Oh, that's just... Oh.
There's just so much scope for a game like that. There's a massive gap that we need filled, and that's gonna fill it. Maybe, hopefully, we're praying.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be another X game in the interim, to sort of tide us over.
Yeah.
That'll hopefully be better than X3. X3 wasn't bad, but it was no X2.
It was kind of just if you hadn't played an X game before you went into X3, you'd play it for 5 minutes and go no.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
wonder, because it was just like being showered with details and with little explanation anywhere, and it was actually just not that great.
No, but yeah, we need the Space Sims back. They're coming back, and we also need a new Star Fox game as well.
Yep, right. New Star Fox, new free space. Perhaps if this kicks off
with actual 3D dogfighting, maybe done by Project Aces and Hideki Kamiya.
Yes.
Because there was that shitty, incredibly murky, grey, fairly really limited dogfighting multiplayer element in Lilac Wars that was not terribly satisfying.
It was no Rogue Squadron, was it?
No. That's another game I want back as well. In fact,
I know.
Actually, like that'd be great. Can we have a working Star Wars space sim? I mean, you'd think that would be a no-brainer. You'd think
that there were so many of them. There were so many really good ones. Good ones.
Like, they need to come back. Like, we're talking about reboots. Well, we will be talking about reboots on Sunday.
Yeah. Or Matt. Or we just have another game with Star Killer in. I mean, whatever.
Or no. No, I can do without that. I think.
I think we all can do without that. In effect.
I think we can all. Yeah, we can definitely. Star Killer needs to die.
Or perhaps some sort of Connectimal style game called Misa Love Connect.
Where you have a baby Rancor and
a little baby Rancor who can use the Force for some reason, and like Jar Jar's there. Jar Jar's like the main character. He's like your virtual tutorial, like that stupid fairy thing in Connectimals.
I'm so pleased to see you. No, die, Jar Jar. And
that's happening. That's tapping into that sweet 5 to 12-year-old demo. Because they've got so much money to spend on games.
So was there any other news this week, or I cannot remember. I'm pretty sure Star Citizen is the only thing that's happened.
It's pretty much anything. Of course, actually, if it's if it's a mature game, it's not going to be able to be released on Windows 8's digital marketplace.
Aha!
Bitter. No, see, I'm getting better at segue.
Better.
All right. Sort of.
That one was acceptable.
That one was acceptable, but there's not anything we can really say about that piece of news other than, we'll just have to play Star Citizen and forget about the App Store.
I was going to say, you'll just have to install it like you would any other piece of software on Windows ever.
Quite frankly, if you're not going to be using any of the Windows 8 stuff, and you're only going to be using the desktop, is there any point in upgrading?
We'll find out soon enough. Although actually you're rocking the preview build, so you could actually just tell us right now.
Yeah, actually I could. I mean the boot time's fairly quick. I mean, if you when I boot it up, it takes between 10 and 15 seconds to get onto the login screen. And it seems to run absolutely fine with all my programs, so not really had many problems.
But Windows 7 does that.
It does.
And boots in 10 to 15 seconds.
Well, initially,
Well,
it
yeah,
gets slower.
Yeah, it does. It never stays. It never stays 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I remember the days when it took 10 to 15 seconds.
Oh, they were good days.
They were great days. That doesn't do that anymore. Because then Service Pack 1 came along
The cage came down.
and laid Windows 7 down. And just but you don't. No one installed that.
Yeah.
No.
After
But
what
yeah,
happened with XP Service Pack 1, everyone's just like, no. Do I want to brick my OS? Yes. No. No.
But yeah, I mean, it runs absolutely fine as far as I can tell. So, yeah, I don't necessarily use the Metro start menu thing.
You're not loving the Metro start menu, which
it's nice.
It does it. It doesn't have any sort of native Kinect integration, does it?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't have a Kinect, so I can't.
It really should. Microsoft made the API available, and it's got a USB port, and it's Metro. So surely you should just be able to stick your Kinect in, because you'll use it more on your PC. There's nothing to do with it on the Xbox 360 apart from the odd voice command and Fable the Journey.
Oh yeah, Fable the Journey.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, isn't it?
That review will be going up soon.
Yeah, that's got loads of voice command
Once I
functionality in it.
reattach my arm, once I have 3 to 6 months of intensive physiotherapy to get my right arm working again.
But surely it would have leveraged the voice commands to make the life easier for you. Surely.
No, it leverages a whole bunch of bullshit and awfully implemented tutorials and immersion breaking gameplay. But like worse, I mean, you'll see this when the review goes up. The fact is, Kinect is actually all right when you're horse riding. It does help, but it's actually a lot of just really poorly implemented, purposeful design decisions from Lionhead that just mediocre, the whole thing.
Yeah, a little tip for you, Lionhead. If you want us to aim at things, we need a reticule.
Yeah, if you're going. Look, like it is one of the least immersive experiences out there, because the game is constantly pausing every 10 seconds to go, by the way, you are playing a game, and I now need to teach you how to play the game. Like, they don't, the tutorials aren't worked into the story, they're not worked into the canon, they're just, this random narrator guy just turns up and goes, hi, you're playing a game, this is how you play, flail your arms around like a loon.
Well,
Anyway, you can get back to the game in 2, 1, immerse yourself.
I think it's hilarious, the fact that they have to have those in, and then the other day they posted up a whole bunch of YouTube videos. Like, we understand people aren't be able to.
Because it's so ropey, the combat sort of calibration. And do you know what's even better? If you ever need to recalibrate, you have to quit the game and go back to the main menu and lose your progress. Just to play the game, just to run a calibration, and
Boris would love it then. Surely, lots of calibration.
I also love the fact that if you ever need to pause a game, if the phone is ringing, you can't just say pause game. That's what you should be able to do, right? It's got voice recognition. You should just be able to say pause game.
Of course.
You got to hold your hand out to your left-hand side. Your hand that will be just aching and twinging and just in utter agony after trying to use it in combat. Try and hold it out, holding it up with your right hand for like 10 seconds until it pauses. 10 seconds where you will be taking damage. Like physical, actual, real damage, as well as taking damage.
Yeah, but the multiple inputs work so well that you can blatantly no, you can't.
No, and it was a waste of opportunity. You'll be able to read this in the review, but you know what? It sometimes comes close to being the most intimate and immersive Fable game to date. It sometimes gives you a glimpse of what it's like to actually live in Albion. Not be a random hero who's just transplanted into Albion to dick around with it, like in Fable 2 and 3, but actually a citizen, someone who lives in it. There are moments where you can look out to the horizon and think, with your horse there, you slow it to a trot and say, I am in Albion and I like being here. That's something I've never been able to do in a Fable game. And it's something that you really can't do in the journey anywhere often enough, because he then gets off the horse and it's like, oh no, some hobs are attacking. Quick, flail your arms around like a twat. Fail and die. Except you won't fail and die because it's so freaking easy, because they realised that the controls were so janky that they completely removed any hint of challenge.
That is actually the thing. That's the thing I found. You know what? The most difficult bit was actually hitting the statues for the initial calibration.
It takes so long.
Well, it took me half an hour, and then I kicked the thing I was sitting on and walked off. I was just like,
but you can't kick the thing you're sitting on. If you do that, Kinect goes, what are you doing?
you got confused by my afro as well.
You're not sitting bolt upright. What are you doing? I can't be dealing with this. How dare you slouch? You are in the presence of Kinect. Peasant. Sit up straight, chin up, arms down, damn it. You and your arms. Keep them down or I will not detect you. And yeah, then another screen pops up and just like says, oh, so were you having fun immersing yourself? Well, do you want to immerse yourself? Well, you can't do that unless you're sitting up straight. Uncross your legs.
Stop crossing your legs.
What does it matter if I cross my legs? You don't control the game with your legs. Oh, I'll tell you what as well. Here's a hint, developers of games. It is not immersive to strafe by leaning all the way over to the left. No. That is not an immersive thing ever. Like, if things were coming at you and you could lean in like Kinect Sports or Kinect Adventures, if it's real time, if you lean to the left and your character leans to the left in real time and something you dodge something that comes past you, yeah, that's pretty cool actually. But it's handled really badly here. And the fact is that if sometimes you wish you could play it with a controller, but if you played it with a controller, you realise that actually it's incredibly simplistic and pared back, and the action is actually pretty average and uninspiring compared to freaking Virtua Cop on the Saturn. But with Kinect, of course, you've got the problems of having to continually fight the horribly janky aiming. It's just the worst of both worlds, when it could have been just so profoundly brilliant.
It does make Sorcery look like one of the best games of all time, which it really isn't.
Makes Fable 3 look like one of the best games of all time.
So yeah, on that rather depressing note,
I'm off to play some more XCOM.
What? Yeah. Yeah. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Tune in tomorrow for Pwnecast episode 4, when we'll be talking. Well, we'll be talking a lot about XCOM and some of our favourite gaming reboots and things we'd like to see, franchises we'd like to see come back. But yeah, until then, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.